it's seen as like the opposite of deja vu, but I think it's even weirder than deja vu.
You mentioned other types. So the one that I'm familiar with is Jamais Vu?
Yeah, jamais vu. Yeah,
Jamais Vu.
it's a bit easier to work with in the laboratory, let's say, because you can provoke it quite easily. But first, before I talk about how we provoke it, um, it's seen as like the opposite of deja vu, and in fact, it's the opposite in the sense that in Jamais Vu you have the sensation of unreality or unfamiliarity for something which you know to be familiar or normal. Most people have had it once or twice for words. So you get that kind of that's not right. And some people tell me that yeah, they've been so convinced that they can't spell a word that they look it up on a dictionary or they Google it. And it's just it still looks wrong even though they've Googled it and there's the word there. It's like, well, that it looks wrong. I just have to say that I think it's fairly normal. It shouldn't happen all the time, but I think it's even weirder than deja vu.
I can only think of one time when I've had that, and I was listening to some YouTube video about the X-Men mutant apocalypse, and they just kept saying apocalypse over and over and over again so many times. I was like, wait, who the hell is apocalypse? Like it was really odd where I suddenly forgot that that was a word or anything about it. It was just,
Your experience. So that's what we do in the laboratory. If we want to give somebody jamais vu, we can just ask them to write the same word over and over and over again. If you just keep writing stuff, it loses its meaning, and you might have like this wave of like weirdness as you're like, that's not a word anymore, exactly like you had for apocalypse.
so if it kind of happens when you do something that seems repetitive, why wouldn't it happen on like my drive to work?
There's not an immediate repetition. So maybe if you drove back and forth, so I play a lot of music, and in my band, I I always have that like, how many times have we done this? Or like, I've forgotten how to play it. Like, you get it more with that kind of immediate repetition. And musicians and performers seem to get it quite a lot where they lose something they've done millions of times. So I think it's more that level of repetition than a repeated journey. On the other hand, I will say that like repeated journeys are an example of how memory works, because lots of people have had that experience, and I know I've had that experience of like, I get home, I park the car, I come inside the house. I don't remember anything about the journey home. I don't remember anything. I could have did I run someone over? How did I get home? What did I do? Was I paying attention? And it's like you've kind of dissociated. You've become split from like the you that's driving your car.
Is that why kind of you like it? Is that part of it, that idea that when something becomes really repetitious like that, and we can't remember, like, did I lock the door? I don't even remember what I did yesterday. Does that qualify as jamais vu or not? Not quite.
Well, so that's just an excellent question. Um, because that's we do conceive it like that, and there have been we haven't done that research, but researchers have said that that repeated checking, like that obsessive compulsive repeated checking, certainly did I lock the door, that does lead to these jamais vu like feelings, and it becomes meaningless. So then you are unable to say whether you locked the door because you went so many times to check whether you locked the door.